Today's project is to make a coffee cup holder on a tripod stand that could be set on the patio. I've made a couple of these that stick into the ground. This was my first one. It was MIG welded right there. I cheated on it. The second one I made, I forge welded those branches on to be a little bit more traditional. And this one is all forge welded. All traditional forging. And what I'll do is I'll put up some times on a scroll here that says what time each part of the project starts. So if you don't want to watch me make leaves, you can skip ahead. If you don't want to watch me make this S-hook, you can skip ahead. If you don't want to watch me make the tripod, you can skip ahead. That's forge weld right here where I welded these two together. I fought that one quite a bit. So, like I said, I'll put up a timeline of when things happen so you can skip ahead in the video if you like. Or if you want to watch the whole thing, that's great too. So here we go. I've already forged out one leaf. And there's plenty of videos out there on forging leaves. So you can fast forward ahead if you like. And I've already tapered the end of this 1/2-inch square bar to start my next leaf. So my attempt now is to make another leaf reasonable to that one there. They don't have to be exact. It's pretty hard to find two exact leaves on a tree. I started this leaf out over here on the far side of the anvil, making that taper. Now I'm going to come back to the horn and with the round face of my hammer take that down. Now I'm going to smooth that out just a little bit. Go back to the flat face. And I'm working it cold. Need to heat it up, but there I have pretty much got the leaf isolated out. It'll get a little bit smaller there at the stem. You don't want to make it too small too fast. Creates a weak spot. Want to make sure and keep that warm right there at that spot too, so that it has some flexibility to it. I'm going to switch over to the flat face of my hammer and start drawing that out a little bit now. Got a little bit hot. That ought to work out. are the same, minus the getting it too hot part. That's probably about enough. Now I'll come back here where that's still a 1/2 inch and cut it off. Angling my chisel back at me so that it cuts it fairly square. And no, I'm not going to go all the way through on top of the anvil face. We'll just shear that off right here at the edge. And we'll bring that in back down to the size it's supposed to be. And we'll work that a little bit right up towards the head. Try to get it halfway even. And we'll work on making it round. Square octagon to a hexadecagon, working that right up there by the head first. Triaconodiacon, I believe that's pronounced right. Take 16 to 32, in other words. If you always work those corners, it'll get round. And we'll come back from that leaf head a little bit. Four to 16 to 32. Now, yeah, I know that's kind of nitpicky, I guess, going to 32. But try it sometime. It works. it works. Now we'll finish that out on the other end. Yeah, we'll work on spreading that leaf out. Just using round face of my hammer. Now switch over to a small cross beam. Put some vein texture in there. That is not one of my best flowers. Leaf, excuse me. There we go. One's a little bit bigger than the other one, but that doesn't matter. It's not a whole heck of a lot. Might be just an optical illusion. So, let's go about making a tenon. A square tenon on a short piece of 3/8 rod. That's probably about all the further I'm going to go with that. Now I'll work that shoulder over with a file. I'll be right back. Okay, I worked that shoulder over with a file. Got a pretty good square tenon going there now. The reason this one's square, because the actual part that holds the cup, or the cradles, the leaves will cradle the cup, but the big giant S-hook will sit on top of this, and you don't want it to twist, so we'll make a square tenon there. So I think while I have that just like that, I'll make that S-hook and get it to fit it, and then we'll go from there, welding the leaves onto this piece here, and then welding this whole thing onto a little bit taller or longer piece of 3/8 rod. I honestly can't remember how long I cut that piece for that S. I'm just going to start with 16 inches and see what we get. Put a short taper on the end. And take that to a long taper. And where we're at now. And we're right at the 8-inch mark on that corner, so I'd say 16 inches was about right. So let's go ahead and taper that other end. There we go. So I've got a very small slot punch, and there's a square drift. Comparing that drift it's real close to the size I need. So I think we'll just drift it all the way through. But first, we'll have to punch a hole. Now, let's see if I can use this. Yes, as somewhat of a center punch. There it is. Couldn't find it. And there's the plug. I think I might have to do some selective quenching to get that hole drifted into the center. Okay, I'm pretty sure I last left y'all I was punching this hole, or drifting that hole actually. It got a little bit off center, but I think it'll be okay. Once you get that tenon in there, you can see that I believe it'll head over just fine. We've got that ready now though, so I think what I'll do now is forge weld the two leaves to that. Now, I have found out that the height works out pretty good if you weld those on to where the tip of the leaf is about at the top of the tenon. That way when you bend that down to hold the coffee cup, it's at about the right spot. Coffee cup, beer mug, whatever you're holding. So, oh yeah, and I want the texture in facing the tenon so that when I fold it down, it'll be facing up. So let's get to forge welding. Now today, I'll be using this Z-Weld. This is put out by a guy by the name of Larry Zeller, Southern Indiana. It's pretty good flux. Now I need a round tenon on the bottom of this stand. No longer, now after I think about it, no longer than this has to be. I almost wish I would have done this all with one piece. But I did change my design as I went along. Originally I was going to make this like the ones I have in the past, or that it sticks in the ground, but then I changed my design. I'm going to put a base on this one, a tripod base, make it freestanding. And that's about the size. Just a little bit of a swell in it right there. think we can do it from there. And we've got a nice shoulder on that round tenon. I guess the thing to do now is to weld those two together. I had just about given up totally. I think I tried that weld about at least 10 times. Could not get, most of the time I dropped the pieces trying to get them to stuck together. Finally, I quit. Worked on my fire a little bit. Cut off the ends that I was welding, re-scarfed them, put them back in the fire, scarfed them without the camera on, of course, because I wasn't even thinking about that. Brought it out, tack welded together the first time. So, all you've missed is me tack welding it. I was real close. Just bringing it out and sticking the MIG welder to it, but I want it to be traditional. So I thought, well, I'm going to give it one more shot. I'm going to clean it up, start from scratch, do it again. We must endeavor to persevere. Well, I think I'll stop there. It's stuck together, at least. Next, need to make the base to put on that tenon. And we'll get set up for that. Next thing on the agenda is to make a tripod base for this round tenon. I've cut a piece of this 1/8 inch by 1/2 inch, 12 inches long and 24 inches long. And we need to make a bend on this one right here. I marked the center with a center punch. Get out my handy dandy Lufkin log rule here. Line it up to where it's an equilateral triangle. Easy for you to say. And that right there is the angle I'm going for. Put a scarf on that joint. And we'll scarf that just a little bit right there on that corner. That should do it. How are we on our angle now? That's about right. Close enough for me, that's for sure. Now I'll get those scarf joints up here where you can see them. So that one will lay right in there like that. And we should be ready to go. And we're tacked. I do believe that's welded. So now we need to punch a hole in it to accept that round tenon. And this is where you test the integrity of the weld. That's plenty big enough. So now we'll work on the feet. Start out by rounding off those ends. And we'll come back here, make a circle. Taper that back a little bit. Then we'll flare that foot out just a little bit using the rounding face of the hammer. I think that'll do just fine. and repeat. And some fine tuning later, we've got a tripod that I believe is going to be plenty stable enough. Now we'll work on bending these leaves out before we attach the base. Well, I think I've got them lined up there to where they'll hold a coffee cup now. I think next thing on the agenda is to paint over this square tenon. And it's peened over. It's on there pretty solid. It ain't going anywhere. Let's back this up a little bit. There we go. And the leaves are pretty much right in the center of the S-hook. So I think that'll do. Now, need to cut that off a little bit. It's too long, but we can attach that to the base. Pretty much a 1/4 inch pin, so we'll want about 3/8 of it. Protruding out of there. Get out my homemade hacksaw that one of my fellow smiths stuck a for sale sign on for me. No, it's not for sale. Well, with the exception of some cleanup, it's completed. Turned out okay for the first time. I'll probably make another one, make a few design changes, make it a little bit easier, but this one is functional. So I think it'll be okay. Thanks for watching.